Hi, guys. Welcome to Para Women Radio. I'm Amy. Chirs Watts shocked everyone when he sat down with CBI agents at Dodge Correctional and admitted to all four unalivings of his family members. And to this day, his parents still don't believe he 100% did it. They tend to believe his first confession with the CBI agents. And in 2019, Chirs Watts' parents leaked to the press that Chris and Shanann's relationship was an abusive one. What do you guys think about all that? Let's dive into the drama and see what's really going on. And let's also continue watching the Dodge Correctional interview Chirs Watts gave to CBI agents on this episode of Para Women Radio. I'm going to roll a quick intro while we wait for everyone to get here. Hi to my replay crew. I hope you guys are doing an amazing tonight, and we're coming to you on YouTube and X. Hi to all of you, and I'll see you guys on the back end in just a moment.
Okay, nothing in your pockets? Okay, go and face that other wall behind you. I'm just going to search your legs.
About me one more time before you go.
Okay, turn around, face me.
Someday you'll know. Someday you'll know what I'm going to say. I've been feeling this way for far too long. And now you're gone. Took me away from all of my fears. Kept me away from all of my tears. You're gone.
Frederick PD 1 cooperative male.
And now I'm lost. Finally, I think I can see clearly now. I'm in love. Think about me one more time before it's so deep. I'm in love. Took me away from all of my fears so deep. I'm in love. Kept me away from all of my fears so deep.
You know that big blue door right there? So you guys know. Appreciate the heads up. So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know that big blue door right there? So you guys know
Hi guys, sorry about that brief delay. I was trying to get the baby bird in bed before it ended, but I didn't do it, but I'm here now. Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? Happy Friday. I love Fridays. Fridays are my most favorite days, and I'm so glad it's Friday. Hold on, the door just opened back up and I need to have it closed so he can't hear me. So welcome to everybody. Welcome to any new people that are coming in. I'm so happy to have you. And welcome to all my fellow members and subscribers. I put in the beginning, we donated to baby Banny. It's the elephant that was struck by a train in India. Her mother didn't make it, but Banny did, and she can't stand on her own. But the people at Wildlife SOS are getting that little baby Ellie back on her feet, and we donated to her rehabilitation. We donated $25.75. And why the 75 cents? Well, they asked if we wanted to cover the costs of the app the money app that they use. So we donated $25.75 for baby Banny. That's enough to buy her one bottle. We will put the link in the description. If you want to donate above and beyond, you don't have to, because we donated it under the Parawoman Radio name, and that means that you donated it because the money came from you guys. And yeah, we're just going to follow this little Ellie's journey and keep donating and just go from there. And I just want to say a huge thank you. I'm sure it feels really good to know that you helped a little elephant drink and get back on her feet today. And, you know, all those treatments that they have to do for her, they like literally rub her whole body up and down and all around. And it's just really a beautiful thing. And they're getting the electricity, the neurons and all of the fibers and the webs that connect the body. They have to refire up. And when we first started watching her, she couldn't even stand. But now there's evidence. They have video of her standing. They have to stand around her, but she's holding her own weight, and it's really beautiful. So thank you to everyone that has come by, and it just takes a click of a thumbs up or a thumbs down button. That's all I ask of you. Just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And if you like my content, please just subscribe. It's free. It's a totally free thing. If you ever don't like me, you just click that button and you just say goodbye and you unsubscribe. So it's just something free that I ask of you, and it's really, really appreciated. We like to do an algorithm dance party. I just ask you to start warming up your fingers, dancing them up to the thumbs up and heart button, and it just helps us dance out into the algorithm party out there and bring more people back to our fun party. And it's just really, really appreciated. And also, one quick thing, I have scheduled a members live this Monday at 7 p.m. Okay, so let's get into it. We have been watching the interrogation or the interview, whatever you want to call it, of Chirs Watts at Dodge Correctional. It's when the CBI agents went out there and they interviewed Chirs Watts, and they sat and had some, snackies, and then they took a little lunch break, and Chirs went and had his nap and his lunch, and they came back and they talked for another 2 hours. But before we get into it, I wanted to talk about some of the things that I read. I found some articles from Radar Online. One was that Chirs Watts' parents claim he and wife had an abusive relationship before he unalived her. We're going to get into that first. Let me get my screen all together, and we'll go from there. Yeah, I know that poor little baby, sweet elephant, but she's a fighter, man. She's fighting. They say that she loves her therapy sessions and she loves her bottles, and it's just really heartwarming to root for the underdog and just really hope. And see, this is the saddest thing about it too, is there are laws and rules set in place so that the elephants don't get struck by the trains. They're just not being enforced. So this didn't have to happen, right? So that's another thing that's angering. When you go to, if you decide to click and visit her page, I think they have a petition that they're asking you to sign so that they can enforce the enforcement. Okay, so this says, let me make sure you can see what I'm showing you. Let me move it around a little bit too. I like that better. Chirs Watts's parents claim he and his wife had an abusive relationship before he unalived her. When the story first came out, there was a definite narrative that they wanted us to listen to. They didn't want us to think about the mistress, and they didn't want us to think about that maybe they didn't have the perfect relationship because it was being sold to us as the perfect relationship. But if you believe that this just happened out of the blue, but then you, in your mind, you say, well, this kind of stuff just doesn't happen out of the blue. I don't understand it. Well, maybe what they sold us wasn't a 100% on either side. Maybe it's just like this big ball of mess that it's a little bit of everything, right? If we're to believe one thing, why wouldn't we believe another thing, right? So I think that we just need to question everything in this story. And I think that's why it goes on to this day, is because people do question it. And I think it's a good thing to question things. I'm not saying that there was anything bad about Shanann if I talk about a bad aspect of their relationship. It just is what it is, right? I always believe that had she been allowed to live, she would have done better. And I believe that of everybody. Like, everybody, once they learn better, they do better, or they attempt to do better. And so I'm not bashing one person over another person. I think when I first did the case, I did kind of lean towards, I didn't like the parents, Chirs Watts's parents, but I'm starting to think that I feel like we need to listen to their narrative and decide what we believe is true. They can't be telling 100% lies, because why? Like, why would they? I believe some of the things that they're saying is truth, just like I believe some of the things, the narrative that the other side, the Rzuceks, have put out, maybe it isn't truth, but maybe it's their truth. And sometimes your truth isn't always the truth, if you know what I mean. So let's get into this. This was written on July 13th, 2019. Despite the fact that he confessed to killing his two daughters, well, let's see if anybody's saying anything over. Nope, nobody's saying anything. Despite the fact that he confessed to unaliving his two daughters and wife and son, Chirs Watts's parents claim he's not an unaliver and he is not guilty for his children's deaths. In a shocking interview with KMGH, Ronnie and Cindy Watts described their son as a normal, athletic man who played sports from age 5 to 17. He was normal. He didn't have a temper. He was just so easygoing like his dad. He's not a monster, said Cindy. As Radar Online readers know, Chirs, 33, confessed to unaliving pregnant wife Shanann Watts, 34, and his 2 daughters, Bella 4 and Celeste 3. After 2 days of lying to police about their whereabouts and saying they had gone missing, he then retreated his confession, saying Shanann had put her hands around the girls herself, which is why he unalived her. Earlier that month, however, he pleaded guilty to all 3 murders. As far as his parents are concerned, however, Chris was pushed into his guilty plea and is responsible only for unaliving his wife to death after seeing her unalive their daughters. And by the way, you guys, we say different words over here on YouTube. It might drive you crazy, but I cannot say certain words or YouTube will flag my channel. And so if you hear me say something that's a little bit different or strange, that's why. We also start and stop things for fair play use. I will put the link to everything we view during this live in the description. And I also stop and play things for fair play use. I know sometimes it drives people crazy. Like, why don't you just play it all the way through? And when we get into the interview, I will play that all the way through, the portion that we're going to listen to tonight, and I'll go down into the comments and hang out and chat with you. But yes, I urge you to go and do your own research. This is all my opinions, and this is for entertainment and educational purposes only. As far as his parents are concerned, however, Chris was pushed into a guilty plea and is responsible only for putting his hands around his wife and unaliving her to death after seeing her unalive their daughters. Cindy claimed Chris and Shanann had a very hard relationship apart from allegedly isolating Chris from his family. Cindy said Shanann made her feel like she couldn't do anything right. So she believes that Shanann, and I'm sure Chris made her believe this, that Shanann was isolating him. I think a lot of the problems have to do with Chris and Chris's inability to be honest and truthful with his parents. Like, to this day, I think he's still yanking their chain, and I think it's horrible. Readers recall that 2 days after Chris alerted police about Shanann's disappearance, he went to his father, Ronnie Watts, and told him the story. At the time, he said he was only responsible for his wife's death, not his children's. It's hard for me to believe that he would hurt them girls no matter what, Ronnie said. The story he told me that night, I believed. I believed it. The way he looked at me, the way he was crying, I believed it. With Chris's ever-changing stories, however, Ronnie and Cindy no longer know what to believe. I just want the truth of what really happened, Ronnie said. If he did it all, I can live with it. If he didn't, I want him to fight for it. So back then, he was still fighting for that, I forget, it was a 34C or 3001, something. He was fighting for to be able to plead that he didn't have a fair trial. But he's since given that up, and there has been things that have come out that the parents now believe that he did everything. Or no, they don't say that they believed he did everything. They just say things like Chris is where he should be. Let me make sure you're hearing me too. I didn't even do my sound check. Okay, you are. So let's look at that quick interview that the Watts did. And let me find it though. Here we go. Thank you so much, Lindy, for saying that. Yes, please like and share for the algorithm. Anna Marie says, I agree. He left for mechanic school and never looked back. He liked his independence. Yes. Yes, I think he did. I think Cindy was a very domineering figure in his life, and I think he liked that freedom, but like what he did with NK, like how he liked the freedom with NK, he probably liked the freedom with Shanann in the beginning, right? And then he didn't speak up for himself, and then the cycle started repeating itself, and instead of like just getting a divorce like a normal human being, he decided that he would unalive his family. But had he gotten a divorce like a normal human being and then got with NK, he would have, the same thing would have happened. She would have started domineering him and he would have lost his voice. And it's just, I think it's a cycle that would have repeated itself. And let's be honest, we're not lucky, but it's good that it happened when it did, because maybe he would have gone on and unalived somebody else or somebody different, right? So I just really believe Chris is the enemy, the bad guy in this situation, and should be looked at as the bad guy, and everybody else is just a victim in this whole thing. Yes. The things that they say and do can be very abusive, very abusive. I just wish that Cindy would get herself a good publicist, or I say Cindy, but I mean Cindy and Ronnie, because we all know Cindy runs the show. I just wish that they would get themselves a good publicist, find themselves an author that won't leak stuff, that is an actual author, maybe went to school to be so, like, I mean, to be an author. I could hook them up with an author. I mean, I went to school with people that are pretty big authors now. I went, Scott Sigler, I went to school with him. He was actually the person, I worked at the radio station, and he ran the radio station. It was the college radio station. And he's a big author now. And I have a friend, Wednesday Lee Friday. She's a big author. I mean, I could hook you up with some authors that are, have credentials and are good and that would write the story. Because, I mean, if we could just get the story out there in a concise manner, and I don't know. Anyway, what am I saying? Anyway, I just feel like if they could do better, and if they could do better, if they could be surrounded by people that would, I don't know, get a good therapist. I could recommend some therapists. Just do better. I just think everybody could do better. I could do better. I'm always striving to do better, be better. I hate the past mistakes that I've made, but here's the thing, you guys. If I want to be forgiven for my past mistakes, you have to forgive others for past mistakes. And so they're not even being asked to be forgiven or anything. But I think that if they did ask to be forgiven, they would be forgiven by the public. What do you guys think? Yes, he should have said that that's the thing. I think Chris is the enemy here. He's the bad guy. He's the guy that perpetrated all of this. And he just never had the balls to stand up to anybody. He didn't have the balls to stand up to Cindy. He didn't have the balls to stand up to Shanann. He didn't have the balls to stand up to NK. He still has his balls packed away somewhere. I don't know where they're packed away, but they're still packed away. Maybe in, Shanann's purse somewhere deep in the closet somewhere. I don't know. But he's still being harmful and deceitful.
Coming out now to speak with us.
Now, this is an awfully quiet interview, and it's very short too. So you might need to put your headphones on for this.
Because we didn't know about the plea deal.
This is Ronnie and Cindy Watts, the parents of Christopher Watts, the man who pleaded guilty to killing his pregnant wife, Shanann, and his 2 children, Bella and Celeste.
We were not allowed to talk to him about it.
They're frustrated because they say his attorneys wouldn't let them ask him anything about the case before the plea.
I asked Chris, if you did not do this, do not confess to something you didn't do. And she shut me down. She completely shut me down.
And just like everyone else, his parents have a lot of questions after he confessed to killing Shanann, claiming he saw her strangle one of the kids.
She said, I'm sorry, I went into a rage and I killed her. And he said, I am so sorry. He says, I've ruined your life. I've ruined my life.
Well, he told me, he said, Dad, I could not put the girls with her after what she did. He said, I could not put them with her.
And so instead of putting the girls with her, he decided to put them into
the oil tank, which I still don't understand.
I don't understand that either. He's not a sociopath. He's not a psychopath.
A question his parents have is, what was the trigger to cause all this to happen? Something I asked when I interviewed him when she was reported missing.
Did you guys get into an argument before she left?
It wasn't like an argument. We had an emotional conversation, but I'll leave it at that.
because she was leaving him or he was leaving her.
He was leaving her.
He just said he wasn't in love with her anymore. He said,
Because both Shanann's fans.
So no, I think what happened was Chris was trying to do a little pre-thinking of this whole case. And I think when he went home and he visited, that's when he wrote that letter, and he was trying to make his parents think that he was going to divorce her and be reasonable about things. And I think this is another reason why it's been so hard for them to believe that Chris did it, because he was doing all these things to try to trick them and fool them. And they bought it. But would you believe that your son or daughter would do this to another human being, even though it happened? And I'm just still shocked to this day that they don't just come out and say,
family and Chris's family,
that our daughter-in-law was innocent and we're sorry that we said otherwise, but he's our son and we wanted to believe him because we love him, or something, right? Anything.
they are in pain. His parents just want the truth about what happened.
If this actually happened like like they're saying that it did, that he killed them, then what was the trigger?
If he didn't kill the children, I want him to say so. Then let them prove it.
They're just pleading for the truth from their son.
There's a whole lot of unanswered questions about the case, how everything happened too quick there. From a case status thing to a plea.
If he's saying you didn't kill the kids, why do this plea deal?
I have no idea.
The only reason I could think of, he's trying to, for our family and her family, not to have to go through a trial, long drawn out trial.
It has been so overwhelming, and I feel like I have to do something to help my son. I need to do something. If he's not going to fight, I want to fight for him.
And guys, if you believe that the Watts are not like good people and you just can't stand them, I can understand that. I can understand it because I felt that like that too. I feel like we all go through this evolution of how we feel, and like you either stay how you're feeling or you change and you ebb and flow. I'm an ebb and flower. I'm kind of, the more I spend time viewing the Watts and thinking about it and being like more rational about it. And some people that drives them crazy. Like I got people that unsubscribe because they are not willing to hear me say that I still think about Gypsy Rose, and my sociology, psychology mind still feels sorry for her. But, you know, if you think one way, I'm not going to drag you and say this or that. I might say how I feel, but that's a conversation, and I like conversations. So I want to hear how you guys think and how you're feeling and what your thoughts are. And I want to be able to share mine in that same way. That makes sense. Let's move on. I thought it would be interesting to watch a quick little thing about the Rzuceks and how they thought about the relationship, and did they think there was any problems in it? And then I want to pop over to Cindy's interview that she did by herself and watch a little bit of that, and then we'll go over to the Dodge Correctional interview. Okay. Oops, let me make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing. I don't know if I switched. Okay, I did. Yeah, you're an ebb and flow person, Anna Marie. Yeah, I am too, but I actually envy those people that are fixed, and when they believe what they believe, they know what they know. I used to be that way, but now I'm more an ebb and a flow. But I do envy the people that are solid in what they know. You know, I think maybe I'm a terrible judge of character too, and that's why I'm not so solid in what I know anymore, because I've been beat down by the world that I think like maybe I don't know as much as I think I know. And so, yeah. But let's listen to what the Rzuceks have to say.
Broken parents of Shanann Watts, who was murdered along with her 2 little daughters, are breaking their silence.
How do you describe your daughter? She was fun, full of life. She did so many things. She had her hand in everything. She was amazing.
Sandra and Frank Rzucek spoke with 2020's Amy Robach.
I couldn't ask God for more. He really blessed us with them, you know, the children and Shannon.
Shanann suffered from lupus, which made each of her pregnancies high risk, but she was determined to have children anyway.
Mommy has a baby in her belly.
What kind of mom was she?
Phenomenal. Outrageous. She'd do anything for her children. She just loved her children, and she wanted them to have everything.
They say they had no idea their daughter's marriage to Chirs Watts was falling apart.
Did you believe that she was happy?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where was I last night? I was somewhere, maybe it was actually my own chat a few days ago, but we were talking about Shanann, and when she was with that lawyer at that Japanese steakhouse, you know, was Shanann having thoughts like maybe something was up? And that's a good question. Why was Shanann talking, like even off the cuff, talking to a divorce lawyer about stuff at the steakhouse if she wasn't even maybe having some thoughts? And it was said that Shanann screamed to Chirs or text to Chirs that Colorado's a 50-50 state. So I just don't think that Shanann wanted her parents to worry ever about her. And so I don't think she was maybe as truthful with her parents as they would have thought she would be.
We're extremely happy.
Take your shirt off for us.
And this is just released video of Chirs Watts being examined for scratches and bruises resulting from strangling Shanann and smothering the little ones. A police officer photographs Watts, who spent many hours working out. He's pretty buff with powerful muscles and a flat stomach. And he has a number of large tattoos on his arms and back. One elaborate tattoo on his back is an homage to Metallica, his favorite heavy metal band. His face is expressionless, his eyes almost lifeless.
Thank you.
After the examination, Watts is left alone in the interview room. And look, the cold-hearted killer soon falls fast asleep, just inches from a photo of one of the children he slaughtered.
I think he was eating pizza in there too, wasn't he? You know who I really... So Kelly from Watts the Obsession has been helping us out with some things that happened regarding another content creator. And I was supposed to go on her live and we were going to talk about the house, but something happened in her life that she couldn't make that happen. And then I wasn't around when it did happen, but I'm going to ask her if she would like to do something, because I know she has spoken with the Watts and I know that she has insight about them. And I would like to actually do something, a series where we cover the Watts, like we cover Cindy, we cover Ronnie, we cover Jamie, because I think Jamie caused a lot of problems in the relationship between Shanann and the in-laws. I think that Yes, I think that she did. And so I would like to just kind of cover them all. What do you guys think? Would you be interested in that? Put a 1 if yes or a 2 if no. This is an interview. This was Cindy Watts' Shocking Messages. She did a chat in 8/14/21. This was comments made on a True Scam Live. What Cindy says will shock you. This is stuff, the reason why people are unhappy with Cindy. These are some of the things she said in the past. Let me put this on. This has music. How am I going to do this? Let me see. So here are some of the comments that she made during a live stream that apparently someone has copied. Cindy says, Chris will never cooperate. She says, I know Chris, and if we were ever threatened, he will never speak up. Cindy says, I would have never come on this channel if Tammy wasn't a friend. And then she says, I can't see he could have unalived his family. I know him. So this was in 2021. She was still feeling this way. She says he's gentle. And you know what? I bet you he is gentle. I think two things can be true about a person at once. I think a person can be gentle and they can also be violent. Those two things can be true at one time because people can be different things at different times. He said what he said in Wisconsin to stop it. He is a prisoner and didn't have rights. He told them what they wanted to hear and what he heard. I never knew Shanann was anything but working at Dirty South. So there have been rumors about her doing things that were illegal at Dirty South. No one would talk to me. We've asked for DNA on Nico. We've asked for his phone. Nothing. And so now they're still questioning Nico. This makes me sad to read. We wanted to talk again to the public defenders, but no one will talk to us. We have tried, but nothing happens. You have to have influence or money. There is something very wrong in this case. I agree. There is something very wrong, but I don't think what you think is wrong is wrong. He did break up with her that night. He chose his family. Chose his family for what? To unalive? Something went wrong. What can I say? No one cares. Chris is in prison and is not trying to get out. He's where he should be, and we're all safe because of it. Where's NK? Yeah, but where is NK? That's a good question. It's all too much. They're all people involved that are powerful. And so that was something that she said in a chat on 8/14/21. This is the interview she did for News 9. We'll watch a little bit of it. And then we'll go over to the final, the one that we've been working on. It'll be this is part 3. We've listened to 2 parts of it. It's probably going to be a 4-parter. We'll listen to about an hour of it tonight. And then there'll probably be like 40 or 45 minutes left of that interview. But let me see what you guys are saying, what you're thinking. Okay, I'm seeing some ones. Chris Watts is a monster. Yep. Miss Murdaugh says, sorry, but I don't believe the Watts because they were not around SR and their son as much. I mean, these are the same people who chose not to attend their wedding because Cindy did not like Shanann. Yep. They probably don't know as much as they are claiming to know. I do think that they probably know more than we know. And so I'm always willing to hear more. But it is obviously very slanted towards their son. God, it would just be so nice if they could step out of that box that they're in. I guess just as I hope that Shanann would have done better had she lived, the Watts are still alive. So I just always hope that they'll do better. And, I hope, like I've said, I hope everybody does better, including myself. It's one of the things I pray for myself. Please let me be better. So, and do better.
Every morning just crying, thinking this is not going to be what's going to happen every single day. It's just so hard to get through it. I just don't know how to get through it.
So when I hear her say things like this, it's so normal to me.
His childhood.
And I do feel sorry for her.
Yes, he played sports. He played sports from the time he was 5 years old up until he was 17. And he was in basketball, he was in baseball, he was in football, and loved NASCAR. He and his dad went to the NASCAR races all the time. Loved sports. And he was a good kid. Had two best friends, and
I think it's very slanted. He probably hid who he was to Cindy growing up, and I've heard rumors. I don't know what's true and what's not true, and so this is all allegedly, but I've heard rumors that he would hide in the bathroom and she would try to talk underneath the door, like, what are you doing in there, son? Why don't you come out? Stuff like that. That would be, if that's true, that's a lot, you guys. That's a lot.
That's who we grew up with and still are friends with them today. And there's nothing that would have predicted any of this could have ever happened.
Yeah.
Nothing in his childhood at all. I would have never in a million years thought something like this could happen to him at all.
Oh, wait 1 minute. I don't understand, Jennifer. What does that mean? Jennifer says, because Shanann would be humiliated if the public knew. Are you saying that the Watts don't speak up because she would? Because I feel like they're already, like, if that's true, then they're saying too much. They shouldn't say anything at all, because I feel like they're already doing that. And not, if I could interview them, I would ask them, like, what did you like about your daughter-in-law? What were the good things about her? Was there any occasions that you especially enjoyed? Like, there has to be something good. Miss Murdoch says, Cindy has been problematic from day one, as bossy as they claim SR was. Rich coming from Cindy, considering her own bad attitude. SR really tried her best, but the nut tried to feed her daughter nuts. Yeah, I feel like a lot of times when we don't like other people, it's really aspects of ourselves that we don't like. And when I don't like somebody, I always try to remind myself, like, Amy, what are you watching in this person that you don't like, that reminds you of something that you do that you don't like, or something that was done to you that you don't like? And so, yes, I think that there were the aspects that they didn't like of each other, Shanann too. They were the negative aspects of themselves that they didn't like. They were both very similar people, whether they wanted to believe it or not, they were. And but Shanann is gone and she can no longer defend herself. And I think that it's time to not make it so she has to defend herself. Hold on a second. I need to take a drink of water. Ate some garlic toast and I'm super thirsty today. I can't stand the innocent little girl voice Cindy uses. And isn't that ironic that the little girl voice that NK used on her phone calls? Ugh, yeah. I agree, Jennifer. Cindy has gone on many YouTube channels talking very badly. Yep, she has. And she's never asked for forgiveness for it, which she probably doesn't think she should be asking for forgiveness, but she should. Because, yeah. Jamie's jealousy of Shanann was toxic. Yes, and I think she drug her parents into a lot of fights, and the parents were always going to choose their child over anybody else. That they have proven that that's what they will do, and that's what they did, and nobody had even been unalived, right? So of course they chose their family to believe, and they have shown that that's what they do. Sherry K says, nobody has a perfect relationship. Nope. But Shanann and the girls didn't deserve what Chris did to them. 100. She was bossy, but she also had to be bossy because Chris didn't have the balls to be honest. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. People fault women who have the ability to make decisions and make them like they, like they know what they're talking about. Then they become a bossy bitch, right? But yeah, I think that Cindy was the first woman in Chris's life. She wanted to be the only woman. And then, Cindy would have ended up not liking NK just as much as she didn't, if not more, then she didn't like Shanann. Because I think NK was gearing up to be worse than Shanann. Miss Murdoch says, Jamie and Cindy have been trying to mess up the relationship from day one, messed up the invitations and the food, then ghosted on the wedding day. Yeah. Yep. And I don't think they've ever asked for forgiveness for it. But I'm just saying, in the event that they ever did, I would be willing to hear them out. Let's get back into this interview. We'll watch a little bit more of this, and then we'll pop over to the last interview, and I'll come down and to chat with you guys.
And see things like him getting into fights.
No fighting. He was quiet, and he got along with people, and he didn't start anything. And he was a perfect teenager, tell you the truth. He did not even rebel. He wanted to go to NASCAR Tech. We made that possible for him.
What did he do after he finished school?
He worked at the dealership as a service technician and was making good money and loved it. He bought a toolbox, and he started buying his tools and enjoyed it. He was doing well.
When and where did he meet Shanann?
They met, and he liked her, she liked him, but I don't think it was love at first sight or anything. They took a little while and I guess got to know each other and, dated.
I think it was love at first sight on Chris's part. I think he really, really wanted Shanann to like him. Like I remember hearing in this last portion of the interview that we watched a few days ago, like he said, I would plan what I had to say to Shanann. I would plan conversations. He said with Nikki, he didn't have to plan conversations. Well, when you're doing a lot of drugs and stuff, you don't really have to plan a whole lot of anything, do you, Chris? When you're living the life that you were living with NK, you really didn't have to do a whole lot. And it was probably a whole lot of fun because he probably didn't live his life up in college. And it probably felt like a true college experience with NK. It sounded like a true one. Just going and having fun and, working when you had to work, because there was even people, I read something recently, people were saying that they were leaving early from work, and NK and Chris together, they were leaving early from work and going off and doing their thing and pretending like nobody knew what was going on and everybody knew what was going on. Ugh.
It was always a little a little strange that she always said a lot of things about Chris in front of me that I didn't like. Like, this isn't the kind of person I would date. He doesn't know how to do this, or he doesn't know how to do that. He looks like a skater boy.
When I see Cindy, I think of myself when I'm unbalanced and unhealthy. In the past, I wouldn't say anything about a dead person like that, but I would say whatever was on my mind. I would just frickin' say it. And then when I think of like Shanann, I think of myself maybe more today where I'm a little more, I might say something, but I try to sugarcoat it somehow, or I try not to be so blunt. But yeah, I think that I do think Shanann and Cindy were very much alike. They were a lot alike. And, maybe let me float this out there. Maybe Jamie was jealous that she recognized that Shanann had a lot of Cindy in her. And like, what if Shanann and Cindy got along? Then where would Jamie be? She would be out on the outstretches, just kind of looking in, right?
Look at his hair. Look how much stuff he puts on his hair. It was just on and on and on, and I just got a bad feeling.
And they got married in 2012. Did they get married in North Carolina?
They did. Mm-hmm.
How was that?
We didn't attend.
Really?
Mm-mm. We didn't attend because Shanann and I just couldn't get along, and I didn't like the way she treated him.
What do you know about their marriage and their issues?
Oh, very little, very little. You can only observe. I could only observe what I saw when I was around them.
And Chris kept you at a very long distance. You thought that it was Shanann keeping him away from you, but I mean, like, he just ran away from you at college, and like somebody just said, I forget in the comments just now, and didn't look back. They did not look back. He didn't look back. And that made her resentful. But she resents the wrong person. Who she should be resenting is Chirs Watts and maybe Jamie Watts or whatever her new name is. I don't know Jamie's married name.
Always seemed anxious, and he when she needed something, I mean, he would run.
And is that her fault, Cindy, or is that your son's fault? Let's put the blame where the blame is.
Wouldn't walk, he would run, he would get it. He just always seemed to be right there at her beck and call.
And did that seem odd to you? Or?
Very odd. It was very
And the reporters like, and did that seem wrong to you? On whose part? Who's wrong, Cindy?
Very odd. He just seemed nervous.
So how much did you see them over these last 6 years?
Probably twice a year. We would go up there.
Did you stay with them? Or?
Yeah, we would stay with them and stay a week and then come back home.
Tell me about Bella and Celeste.
And it's interesting because the Watts who only visited twice a week are the ones, or twice a year, are saying that they recognize marital problems. But the Rzuceks, who lived with them for over a year, was saying that they didn't recognize the problems. So I guess we're just going to have to do start a deep dive on the Wattses, because it seems like that's what you guys want, and I want to do it too. So we're going to do it. So let's head over. I did want to show you really quick. I did have an article that I found that says the Chirs Watts' family in shock over confession. He drove kids far away before unaliving. So this was in 2019, July. This wasn't long after when CBI agents went out to see Chris. Chirs Watts' families are in shock as they had no idea about his startling confession. He drove his children 45 minutes from his house before unaliving them. Radar Online can exclusively report the family unaliver, currently serving 3 life sentences for the murder of his wife, Shanann, and their 2 young daughters, Bella, 4, and Celeste, 3, left his immediate family in shock when the full horror of his crimes were revealed earlier this week following an interview with officers from the Colorado Bureau of Investigations. A close family friend exclusively told Radar Online his family are in shock. They are reliving the same nightmare all over again, like it was from day one. He drove 45 minutes with his children. At any time, he could have got out of the car and called the police and turned himself in. There are so many things that could have been done differently in that 45 minutes and stopped this. The friend pointed out how Chris's mother, Cindy, and father, Ronnie, have also lost their 2 grandchildren, as well as having to come to terms with their son's actions. In the interview, which is set to be made public on March 7th, Chris explained to investigators that he unalived Shanann at home, then drove her body and 2 children to a remote oil field where he worked and buried her before smothering the children with a blanket. After killing or unaliving Celeste, known as Cece, he approached his daughter, who pleaded, "Please, Daddy, don't do to me what you just did to Cece." But he unalived her anyway. The source added, "I think Chris did a monstrous thing and got caught up in something he couldn't get out of and made a terrible choice. His parents are angry Chris didn't tell the truth from the beginning. Are they still going to love Chris? Of course. They're never going to stop loving their son, but they're beyond disappointed. If Chris had been honest with them and police had been honest with them about what they knew, they would have done things differently." The family friend also said they have been talking to Chris while he's been in prison and claimed he has found God while his family hasn't visited yet. They talked to him by phone and are planning to visit soon. The insider added, "He has found salvation in religion at this point. I have the conversation with him, but I have had conversations with him, but they are mainly superficial. But he is taking responsibility for what he's done, and he's coming forth with the truth, which will help people get closure," which that's a big lie. He's not doing any of that. He's still yanking everybody along, and then the parents seem to have, and they've not move forward in what they believe. They're still stuck in that same loop that Chris has them in, which is so sad. All right. Let me get the screen ready and I'll come down into chat and we will watch the final portion. Well, not the final, but about 45 minutes of this interview. And then we'll probably have like 45 minutes left. Okay. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, guys, this is Parawomen Radio, and I'm Amy. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. We have our first members chat this Monday at 7 p.m. And we're going to have a members chat, and I like to release my videos early to the members, and I also do shout outs. You can see they're scrolling down along the bottom, the members. And I'm just really grateful for those of you that want to take that second step and become a member. And I also wanted to let you guys know, I understand in this economy, even $2.99 can be a lot. I mean, I have to really think about who I'm going to support and what I'm going to support. If you're ever wanting to be a member and you can't get in, just email me at parawomanradio at gmail.com, and I can work something out. I can maybe find another subscriber that's willing to buy a membership, or also we can bring you in the back way, maybe have you do a little research for me or something like that. I don't want anybody to ever feel excluded, but I do want to say thank you to the members for supporting me and taking that extra step. It's so appreciated. So here we go. I'm coming down into chat. I will be talking in chat. I won't be stopping and starting during this interview, but I'll be putting some comments up on the screen here and there. Okay, here we go.
He had been married before, and it didn't work out because they were stationed together or something, like over in Korea. And I should have just kind of just came out with like the whole story, like, you know, like I just told him there was this girl at work that, you know, I've been talking to, but I'm just distancing myself from her. Yeah. But that wasn't the case.
I am going to stop just to catch you up to speed. What he's talking about now is he went away to San Diego and one of his friends went with him from childhood, and he was telling him about the affair. And this is what the conversation was, what was happening, just so you're caught up to speed what's going on.
I was just letting it, you know, exponentially get worse. Right. If I told him like, hey, you know, he would have been like, whoa, man, like, all right, take a step back and look. Yeah. Right. And like, don't like fall into that trap being you're gonna be alone for 5 weeks. Right. And there's times I wish, you know, like maybe Shanann didn't have to go away for 5 weeks. Maybe we all just went for 1 week. Yeah. Nothing has ever happened. Yeah. It's only, I mean, 5 weeks alone, that's the only reason really that was even almost even allowed to happen.
There are quite a few people who would tell us and who do tell us you need to look into Nikki more, Nikki Kissinger, all the way from the extreme end of things being Nikki's the one who ordered the hit.
She was there. I'm in the basement.
She was there.
Yeah.
You know, so the extreme is she's the one who told Chris to do it. She's the real problem. All the way, that's the extreme side, and then all the way to, well, there were these texts where she was infatuated, she was in love, she was saying how good Chris was in the sack, and maybe we should look at her more. You know, what would you say to those people?
Like, you know, she had her moments where I had to talk her like off a ledge kind of deal.
What does that mean?
It's like, I guess after the fact, there was like videos of her that she was like recording herself because she was like bipolar or something. I never do that. But it's like, and she would get worked up about nothing. She would just like, she came to my house once because I think it was like July 4th. I didn't have to work that day. So I didn't like get up at like, you know, 4 o'clock and go home. And Shanann called me like, and I didn't hear it because I was sleeping. I was just like, and she was pissed. Shanann was pissed. And like I called her on outside, like, where are you at? Like, what? Like, I was like, I didn't have to work today. It's like, called me at like, you know, 5:30. It's like, kids want to talk to you at 7:30. I'm like I was sleeping. She's like, she just like, you know, screw you, like, you know, like I don't know where you're at. And I went back inside. Something like, I gotta go. And she was just like, okay, then you come back? And like, probably not.
So wait a minute, you kind of lost me there. Were you at Nikki's place when Shanann called you?
Yeah.
Okay, and so you were sleeping in her bed.
Yeah, because I wasn't going to work that day because I didn't have to that day. First holiday I ever had off, and you know, Shanann was pissed, and you know, kind of pissed Nikki off too that I left. But I think that's when I called Nikki later, and she was like, you know, she kind of realized that, you know, she'd always be like, you know, the second. She said second bill. Sure. And because that's how I probably would come like that day. Just, you know, I don't want to be anywhere else when Shanann calls. She was already pissed. So it was stuff like that where she would she would go. She said she would go on like websites and look at like, will a relationship work with somebody? Like, will a mistress work? Will a mistress turn into a relationship?
That's what Nikki was looking at? Yeah. She would tell you that, or you heard that? Okay.
Yeah, she said that she would go on websites and look at stuff like that. I was like, why do you even look at stuff like that? She's like, I just want to see what other people have experienced.
But like, so that confuses me though, because I thought earlier you were saying she thought you were heading toward a divorce. So why was she looking at herself as
this was later on.
Oh,
like, you know, in August, like first week of August, when I told her, like, you know, I had had that talk with her about separation. That's when like she started looking at like apartments and stuff. But like during our July relationship type thing there.
Oh, I see.
That's when she was looking up like, it will actually work. She told her friend Brittany about it, I guess, and Brittany told her not to do it, but she said she'd already made a decision.
Okay. And so, are those people absolutely wrong about Nikki? She wasn't asking you to get rid of your family.
No.
Are you sure? Okay. And no part of any of this was because she put it in your head or asked you to, or
you never. I mean, this whole relationship contributed to it.
Sure,
but she didn't want me to.
I mean, was it ever like, I wish you didn't have kids. I want to have, kids of my own with you. Like,
she never knew if she wanted to have kids, but she said that, at one point she said, I'd like to give you a son.
Did she know that Shanann was pregnant with a boy?
No.
Did she know Shanann was pregnant?
No.
And why is that? You just didn't tell her?
I didn't know, because we had met.
But Shanann put that on Facebook.
That's
like, how did she not see that?
I don't know. Maybe she did. She just wait for me to tell her, or she put it out of her head.
Can I ask you a question? A lot of people think you named Nico after Nikki. So what was that?
Nico was actually named as Shanann Mike.
Okay. Shanann thought of that one.
Yeah, I wanted to spell it like Neko. I thought it was like Nico that way. But she said Nico. I thought it was something like Nico or something.
Okay.
Because Nico is more of like an Italian name.
Yeah.
So, and like she did leave for, my middle name, my dad, and all that. But like Nico is that's the name that she always liked. Okay.
Did she name all the kids? She named Bella and Celeste?
Yeah, Bella, because Italian means beautiful. Marie, mom's middle name. Celeste is her grandmother's name. Catherine's middle name.
Did you have any input in their names?
I liked them. I was like, if we had a third child, I was gonna, maybe we could have like Lee in the middle name, but I knew like the girls' names. It was, I love those names, so it's that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like with the, we have little nicknames for them, like Belle and Belladine and CC, obviously. So that's good, but yeah, Nico was.
Can we go back to the house on the 13th? So, at one point, right when you got back there, Coonrod was there, Officer Coonrod, and Nicole was there. And then you went in the house in there for about a minute or so before you let everybody in. Remember what you were doing in there at that time?
I went into the garage.
Right.
And then I ran around and I opened the front door.
Yeah.
Opened the front door did everybody come in through the garage or the front door?
Everybody came through the front door.
Yeah, so I came in, I went in through there, I came in, opened the front door, and I ran upstairs. I just was like I was looking around.
Okay. That's after everybody? Did you go around the house at all before you opened the front door? No,
I didn't run around the house. I stayed down on the bottom, bottom floor, and then went and opened the door.
Yeah. Okay. Just curious.
And I ran upstairs and everybody else. And that's when Nicole's son on the phone, and I was going from snack. Like it was good house. Yeah.
Shanann had her bra on. Was that normal that she would sleep in her bra?
Every once in a while. I mean, she just got home from planes. She didn't even take off her makeup or anything. Maybe she was just that tired. But normally, I don't know.
Did it not come off when you guys had sex?
I don't think so. Sometimes she just, she keeps her shirt on and she doesn't want me to do anything. It's like she wants what she wants. She knew what she wanted. That's what she wanted.
Was it just missionary sex?
Yep.
And when her final resting place, was that just naturally what she was wearing? You didn't change her or anything like that? Okay.
Did you have to see any of that stuff? Pictures or anything? No.
I asked not to. They said I could. I was like, no, I don't want. I've prayed for those hazmat workers that I'm sure it was hazmat, right? That had the.
They were part of it.
Yeah. And like
We were all there.
We were all there.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I never wanted to see it. I was praying for that. I'd rather have to be there. I never wanted to know what the aftermath was. They said, like, you know, if this ever got like a preliminary hearing, that I would have to see him just to be prepared and not have a reaction, an initial reaction. But I was like, I don't want to see him.
Do you feel like your lawyers were fair to you? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were my only human contact, really. You know, they're kind of like almost like a guidance counselor, almost.
Yeah. Did you feel like you were driving the bus though, with your decisions you made?
Yeah,
or no?
I was like, there was a lot of things I didn't really know what was going on behind the scenes. Like maybe there was a lot of things they never told me. Like, like stuff that came out like afterwards, like the whole Nikki Kessler article and Denver Post and all that kind of stuff. They told me like afterwards and everything, but it was. I always felt like anything I was telling them, they were gonna do, like the whole taking the plea deal and everything. I told them that's what I wanted to do, and they asked me like, I think like 100 times, "Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure? Like once you sign this, like I guess like up until sentencing, I had the time to like back out, but like they always even before we walked into court, I'm like, are you sure? So yeah, this is it. Like okay, they never told me this is what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
They always just said, this is your decision. Like if you want to take this farther, we're, and John said he was ready. He had all kinds of motions written, all kinds of stuff that were like really creative, and because he'd never been in something like this before, and he was ready to fight. And I was like, I didn't want you to have to do that. Not for me, not for something that the story isn't hard, is true. Because it would just only got worse.
Right.
For everybody, for all three of you, for everybody that was involved in it.
Are you still glad you did?
Yeah, I mean, I never thought I'd be in prison the rest of my life, but like I don't want people to have to keep going through this every day of their lives, knowing that there's a trial hanging over their head, or I mean, if it ever got that far, I don't know. But like, I didn't want people to have to relive it every day. Yeah. Did they have to ever see the pictures?
Say that.
Did they have to see the pictures? Frank and Sandy and all that?
No, they never seen it.
They saw some things.
They didn't see anything bad.
Okay.
Yeah, we shielded that from them.
That's one thing I just didn't want them to have to see anything or hear anybody talking about what anything or any part of it. Or like, anybody bashed their daughter, like anybody ruin, like, to hear what, some of my friends had a negative, impact on her from her, or like had a description of her that they didn't match, something like that. I didn't want them to hear that either. I didn't want them, like, anybody have to trash her memory. Like I wanted like them to know, like she was, she's loving life, she's beautiful, she always helped everybody else, all her friends, her best friends, everybody. I just wanted, I didn't want anybody to take away what she did.
We tried to get you to say that night, I know, but do you remember that?
I remember. I was just like,
I know you obviously weren't ready to say that then.
I was like, like after my dad left, we both came in like, all right, we got most of the story. Let's get to the true story. I was like, I just wanted to bang my head against the table.
But in the end, I think you did the right thing. Even though it's hard to hear, there's a lot of people who thank you for what you did. I think your whole life has been thinking of others, except for one brief moment. I think you really did think of others when you made that choice. So I personally thank you, right? It would have been hard for the three of us to go through about this hard, and for everyone else about that hard, right?
Yeah, it's anybody that was family or friends,
right?
And, it's exponentially harder for everybody.
Yeah. You're right.
So you haven't told your parents what happened? You just told them I'm pleading guilty for a reason?
I've told them like on the phone, even because they're still.
You should fight it. You should get.
They've got letters from like Australia, from England. I mean, of like the 35C in Colorado and stuff, like improper counsel or something like that. Effective counsel. And I mean, some of the stuff they've they said about the dry patch, how it's not like FDA approved, how it can alter somebody's mind, like there was some kind of condition. But there's something else they call like CPSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, or something like that. Have been like some people from England have had it. It's like they've been in emotionally abusive relationship or something. I mean, it's like, some of those subjects they put in there, like, yeah, I can relate to it, but like, it doesn't make up for the fact what happened. But like, they've got a lot of support they've got a lot of hate mail, a lot of phone calls, a lot of like, stuff like that. I wish they never happened, but they get some support, which is good. But on the phone, they still think, there's a chance that I could get out.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to ever think your kid's going away forever. Like,
Yeah,
you don't want to fathom.
they tell me to fight it, like, they don't, not every day, but on their bad days, they'll get a bad message or a bad letter, and then they'll just come right back.
Is it more your mom or your dad?
My mom, she loses it a lot.
Yeah.
On the phone, my dad's usually trying to, like, hey, don't talk about stuff on the phone with him, because it's just gonna rile you up, and it's gonna make him go back to his cell, and he's just gonna think about that all night.
Right.
And that's what happens.
Yeah.
Would you ever want them to know what you're telling us today?
I'd rather just tell them myself.
Yeah.
So they're coming. I think they're gonna try to make a visit in like May or so.
So they don't. Do they still think that Shanann killed the girls?
They still believe that, even though I told them I pled guilty for a reason, but they think that I was their words like railroaded by belief. Yeah. Because they felt like they pressured me to do it.
Well,
do you feel like that?
No. No, they asked me plenty of times. This is like, they wanted to fight. Like if I said fight, they would have just, gone
on their gloves.
Yep. Just went in there and did it. Yeah, it's like, no, I can't have you do that.
So Chris, you care about others deeply. I can tell you worry about others. And I've asked you, a bunch of times today, but you're not just telling us that you did it because you feel bad for Shanann's memory. You did it. Okay.
I have to say, like, after this was all over, people would bring up like, oh my gosh, I bet you're going to find out that Chris, used to torture animals and, all this stuff. You can imagine, like, hearing that someone's capable of that. What have they done in the past? Those kinds of things. Can you think back to your past at all, like your childhood, and think about any other moments that maybe you felt the same rage? I mean, obviously didn't do anything like that, but maybe felt that rage, and like what would have triggered that or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, I was always like somebody that tried to coax people down, not to like if somebody wanted to fight somebody else. I got in a fight like when I was in third grade, but it was like, we ripped each other's shirt, went away crying. It was like, stupid. I was like, why did I do that? And like maybe that was like my only like bad thing I did in school. So I can't think of
Did you feel it on the inside, whether you didn't act it out? Like, did you feel like if someone bullied you at school or if someone whatever, like would it still be inside you? Like, did you feel like that even though you didn't actually act on it?
because I was always, I never really talked to many people. So people knew who I was, but they didn't really, I never really spoke to many people. That's why I never had a girlfriend in high school. I was always kind of like just fly under the radar.
Do you feel like you had low self-esteem?
I won't say low self-esteem. It was just like I didn't want to be part of like a group or a clique. I just like, I had a couple friends, sat at the lunch table with them, or sat out, they call it like a fish pond area, and just chilled out there. And I didn't really want a whole lot of friends. It's kind of like just a close knit. I just wasn't out there. I mean, like I said, people knew who I was, but wasn't I wasn't popular or anything.
Mm-hmm. Can you attribute that to anything in your childhood? Why you were?
My sister was always the popular one.
Uh-huh.
She was more like my mom, like more like outgoing, and like me and my grandma would always sit outside in middle school waiting for her to come out, pick her up, and she'd always be the last one out. She'd talk to everybody in the hallway. And my grandma was always like, "Where's she at? Does she know we're waiting?" But I was just the opposite of her.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, sometimes you have kids that are like the same, and some of you have opposite. Me and my sister were the opposite. Maybe I just drew on that I didn't want to be the popular one. I wanted to be just just a regular guy.
Mm-hmm.
But there was not really like bullying or not like I remember nobody ever really came up to me or wanted to fight me or
never got made fun of. Never.
I mean, I had braces and I had like a bowl cut for a while. I guess it could have made a big fun thing.
Most kids did.
80s and 90s are cool.
A Jim Carrey cut with bowl on your head. I hadn't worried around, but yeah, I don't think there was anything that would be pent up inside me from childhood.
I know you talked about your dad having an addiction when I was talking to you.
That was after I left. I left home.
Was it cocaine or something, or
it was something like powder? I'm not sure if that was cocaine. I guess
how do you think that affected you?
I don't think it affected me. Well, it did affect me, but it didn't like take like deep down. It didn't like really hurt as much as I thought it would. It was kind of weird because of my thing with my mom and my sister told me, like when they talked to him about it, didn't seem to register. Like I said, like he would just change subject, and like when I talked about it, he eventually immediately changed subject. Like because they found like cuts on his like CDs and stuff where he would like separate it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He had a car dealership. I mean, find guys that do that kind of stuff all the time, I guess. But he was just coping with like I never came back home, and because before I met Shanann, and it was just
Did you feel guilty that he's now using drugs because you never came back home, like he lost his kid?
I never really knew why he was doing it. After the fact, I knew because he was coping with that, but I never knew why he really actually turned to drugs. My mom thought he was having an affair because all this money was going somewhere else just for the drugs. But like I'm not myself, I never used drugs, so I always try to tell him like, hey, like what's going on? Like why do you need to use this? And just like you could using this for a whole lot better things. Just don't throw your life away. I mean, like because you can see in his face, like it's like eyes were like everything was getting like like the blood's through your face and like your skin was getting all loose and like he was losing a lot of weight and nose was bleeding all the time and all kinds of stuff like that. And I was just like, hey, you smoked like every day of your life since you were like 15 or 16. You're like, I can't get you to stop that, but I get you to stop this.
Right.
And he put it away, I guess, pretty quick after I talked to him about it.
Do you think you were closer to your dad than your mom? Yeah.
Yeah, we always went to races together, and just he always trained my sports, played a couple school sports, rec ball, all that kind of stuff. My mom would come too sometimes. My dad was always there, yeah. Even if I wasn't playing, he'd just come there just in case I can't win in there.
Aww.
So that's cool.
Yeah. Well, I wondered if they hadn't visited because they weren't ready to visit, or if it was a money thing, or like
here
time off. Yeah, you like
here.
Yeah, visit here.
Well, I just told him like, we can't drive in the snow, so it's not like I don't want.
These roads are bad.
Yeah, it's I think it's like an hour from either Madison Airport, whichever way it is. I told him like wait till springtime.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Pretty brutal.
It was yesterday.
Funny. They get here.
They sold my toolbox to get some money to come in here. Okay, so yeah, so they'll come out here like they said April, but I was like, no, just maybe push it till June. They said they can somehow have a blizzard out here in April.
Yeah, like late spring blizzard. Yeah,
so lake effect stuff's crazy.
Yeah. How are you doing mentally?
I mean, the first time when I first came, I didn't know I was coming here. Obviously, I mean, when I was at DRDC, like
spooked you up, didn't you?
I was there a week. Like first day I got there, they put me to the ringer. Like I had like 11 tests to do, like mental tests, like reading, math, all kinds of stuff to see where my IQ was. And then I just sat there the rest of the week. And then Sunday came along, and after dinner, they said, "All right, strip down and put this on." Okay, and then walked outside and put me in the van. I'm just like, good. I had no idea what was going on. And then we stopped in Sterling, which really freaked me out. I was just like, I don't want to do this. I heard so many horror stories about that place. And they just stopped using the bathroom, and then we kept going.
In the prison? Do they use the bathroom at the prison?
Yeah, it was like at the watchtower outside.
Oh.
And we went to Nebraska, sheriff's office there, and then another sheriff's office in Iowa. Used the bathroom, eat breakfast, then got here. I asked him, I talked to him once. I'm like, can you tell me like where we're going? Like just a destination state? He's like, I don't know. So there was it was like one of those like transport vans, like at just the middle where I was sitting there, and I could see out the window, and I could see like they would put in an address each time. Like they had like 4 sets of addresses to each one they had to go to. They just would never tell me where we were going to end up.
What did they say your IQ was?
I was like 140, 35 or something like that.
Was that high? I don't even know what.
That's good. About that.
Yeah, it was taking me back to high school for real. Like
trained parts of the city and all that stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot of word problems, a lot of like geometry, a lot of like patterns. Like if this was moved this way, and then it was like a series of them. Like, all right, what's this movie? Just a lot of stuff like that. But like the further you got along, harder it got. I'm just like, it's like great. And it was like they give you this little take that pen and take the little tube out in the middle. That's where you're using to fill in the little Scantron sheets and everything. Felt like I live in high school again.
Do you know how long you're going to be here? Neither do I, by the way. Are you going to get a job?
If since I'm staying here, since I'm gotten staffed here, you have to work.
Oh, so what's your job now? Okay.
They had to move me out of the acceptance and evaluation. Assessment and evaluation.
You're still on that base? Okay. And how long will that take?
Oh, right now, like stuff in staff here, I'm just waiting for them to move me over to a different unit.
And are you in Gen Pop right now?
No, I'm in a unit. There's like 11 or 12 of us on there. There was like 22 when I first got there, but they've been transferred to the other prisons around.
So what are the other guys like?
They're fine. Like the first time, like I sat out and ate like a breakfast or lunch one, I was
scared.
Yeah, I was just like, this hasn't happened. Like no, since I just never happened.
Yeah.
Like I said, they locked the hallways down when I moved to Colorado.
Well, I heard that. Yeah.
So it was like being next, like right like this, eating next to somebody, I was just like, they're gonna like take a spork and try to stab me or something, or what? But it's totally different here. I mean, people know who I am, but like they don't like run at me or jump at me or like. Apparently, the guys that work here, they know that I guess other maxes are like you can lock down like 23, 22 hours a day.
Oh, so then this is an alright place to be.
For like other max guys. They said it's the best max for the worst medium.
Oh.
Because if you're max, you're working, so you're out at your cell working, like if you're a clerk or if you're in the kitchen or if you're in the rec area, you're doing something.
Okay.
But yeah, they said like if you get stabbed here, it'll be best for you. Plus, they said it's not as like rowdy as some of the other places.
Wow, that's pretty intense.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I'm going to the GP area. I just don't know when.
And you think it'll be while you're here?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, they said like I guess it could take it takes a while to get moved from max to medium because in Colorado I was classified as minimum restrictive, but with the charges it would have been medium. But here it's automatic max.
And what are the other guys in for?
They said most guys in here are for like gang snitches and sex offenders and mainly people that have 20 years or more.
So people who were in for a long time and who would otherwise have a pretty hard time at a jail, for whatever they did, or be snitching or
Yeah, like
children.
yeah, there's some people from other states here as well. And, I guess there's a couple cops here too. Okay, just just things have happened and they just don't think it'd be better. It'd be a lot better if they're here, not at another.
Yeah. So what kind of jobs are available?
Well, it's like they'll probably have me in the kitchen more than like that's where everybody starts out, like either washing dishes or like putting foods on the trays or helping pots and pans, something like that.
Right.
But they have like libraries. They have like I think this is the PSU area, the psych area, so they'll have like different guys doing clerk stuff around here. I mean they have over like 300 GP guys here that are like live here, so they have a job for every one of them.
Wow.
There's even a guy that shovels the sidewalks.
I saw him.
Yeah, I saw him. Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy. I'm not here.
Do you go to therapy? Do you see a psychologist?
There's actually the one her name's like a Javier or something like that. She seemed like once a month, and she's actually from Aurora.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird. I walked in, I saw a Bronco flag. I'm like, okay, who are you? But yeah, it's.
So does she give you therapy, or
no, she just like talks to me just to see if I need anything or like if I need psych meds or if I need anything like that, which I declined all that stuff. But most people in my unit have meds.
just to have them, or do you think they need them?
Well, it's like a special management unit. Like they just put me on there to keep me away from GP. And like most people either like just have like some type of medication they're on.
So you don't take anything?
No. They just keep me on there until security advisor says, you can get moved to GP down the hall.
What kind of stuff like food and stuff do you miss the most from the outside?
Food?
Yeah.
Well, I know from, my last time in North Carolina, Bojangles, that was really good. You guys ever go to North Carolina or no?
Is that barbecue?
It's like it's chicken and biscuits.
Mm.
And that barbecue place down the street from the PD.
Mm-hmm.
Forget what.
Smokehouse,
Yeah.
George Boys.
Yeah. Yeah, the burn ends. I miss that. And just, I miss Shanann's cooking. That's for sure. Like her spaghetti sauce and fried pizza.
Fried pizza.
I don't think I've heard of that. What is that?
Never.
Her mom had, or I think it was her mom, her grandmother, on her mom's side, had this like this dough, homemade dough you can make, and just make up the dough, and she would make it up with Bella and stuff. Sometimes with like a little smaller one, but she would make a really big one, and then she would put it in the oven, the bottom oven, let it sit there for a couple hours, not put it on or anything, just let it rise, and then once it's done, take it out, form it, throw the spaghetti sauce she has, spread it around, and throw the mozzarella and pepperoni and put it on the oven 350, and
But what part of it is fried though?
well, they have some parts that you can on the grill. You can put on the put it on the stove too.
Okay,
it's really good. I mean, it's really thick.
Yeah.
So you got.
Apparently, we need this.
Yeah.
Sandy.
I'll work on that.
Yes. Write a note.
Yeah.
Are you able to stay out of trouble here?
Yeah. No.
Nobody's getting any fights. You're not getting written up for anything. You're not getting.
I try to keep a little bit out here. I don't want to. Because they say if you get like 2 contact reports, they'll ship you out if you work here.
To another location.
Yeah.
Oh, so then does that incentivize people to their nose down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I guess a couple guys got busted for a cell phone.
Oh,
how they got it in?
No kidding.
Yeah.
Like that stuff just baffles my mind how that stuff gets to.
I mean, they won't even if somebody sends me a letter and it has like someone sent me a Christmas card with glitter on it. They'll let me have it because glitter. Like it's contraband. So like, yeah, I don't have people get cell phones and stuff in here.
So what do you do with all these letters that are coming into you?
Most of them, like, I just have like this if somebody writes me once, I'll never write them just because I don't know like who they are, like where they're from. I'll keep it. If it's like a weird letter, I'll straight up throw it away. If it's like a supportive letter, I'll keep it around, just like, supportive letter. And then like I've had some people like write me like a second, third time, but they've changed the way they talk, or like they've said different things. Like there's like this dude in like California that wrote me. He's a senior in high school, and wrote. He's like, okay, dude. I'll look up the name. Like, okay, shut it up, do it away. He wrote me again like 2 weeks ago, totally different. Like never mentioned like his age, never mentioned saying like, hey, like I support you. I'm like all this like that. Like if I didn't recognize his name, I would have known like he was just an 18-year-old kid, senior, trying to just like probably just get information, trying to because there's been like journalists and like other people like you can kind of tell like they ask a lot of questions. But I try to like take into effect who's writing me and like just not to respond. Like I've responded to a few people just because like either my parents have talked to them on the outside and then I kind of know okay, it's a real person.
Oh.
But like there's some people that like it seems like they're just trying like to get help for themselves too. Like some people ask like like just for spiritual advice.
They're asking for spiritual advice from you.
Yeah, like if they're not asking about the case, I'll write them back. If they ask about the case, I'll write them back. Yeah.
You think you'll be in love again? There's a lot of women out there that are in love with you.
No. I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm not the guy that's down the street or whatever it is. I've heard enough about that guy.
What have you heard about him?
Yeah, I can gauge over a letter.
He did, yeah.
That's pretty insane. But yeah, I don't see myself being in love ever again.
Do you have some ladies that are giving you a lot of like just telling you that they're in love with you and that kind of stuff?
Well, I've had a couple letters that have been like, I hear you get a lot of letters from lady friends that tell you all you need to know. I'm like, I don't get those letters. Trust me. Like there was one letter in Colorado, someone sent me a picture of them in the key, and then it's like went on from there. That was like the only letter I ever got. That was like that. But the press took it and just went with it.
Yeah. Hey, did you ever get requests from the press?
Mm-hmm.
And how does that work?
Just tear it up.
So are you personally already planning?
Well, I don't like, kind of back.
Would they allow you to talk with them? Would they allow Minnie to talk with you?
No. I guess foundations have asked to come in here and talk to me, but they have told them no. But they're I've gotten letters from Denver station who would not want to talk to me. And then quotation marks off the record. I'm like, yeah, right. Okay. Anything I write.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I just tear it up, throw it away.
Have you thought about like writing a book or anything like that?
No, it's nothing like that. My mom and dad have been sorry.
Okay.
My mom and dad saying maybe you should like write down like how you feel or like how you've been dealing with this type thing. Just write it down and that would be my story. But I'm just like, I'm not right. That's not me. I mean, I've always had a really crazy imagination. So like when I was a kid, like I even convinced my teacher I went to Japan over the summer or to China or something. But she said, you should write down like your story, like how you cope with this.
Why did you convince your teacher you had gone to another country?
It was just like what you did over the summer, and I was like, oh, went to China. You're still right. She actually believed it. I was really convincing.
So you're a smart dude.
Yeah. It was, and they my parent teacher conference said, so how's China? What? Nope.
So earlier you were talking about how this experience you're gonna want to help people. What do you mean by that?
So like this couple letters that I've gotten, like this one girl, she's in like an abusive relationship and she just can't find a relationship like with God. And like I never read the Bible before all this. Like in Will County I read it. It was, in the segregation poll there, it was like that was the only book I got. I was like, okay. I read it cover to cover. And I never thought I could, being how many pages are in the Bible, but it stuck with me and like I've been reading it more and more here. Like I got a different version here. I've just been reading it, just writing down like a couple scriptures a day, like to get my mom and dad. They've been like making a little journal and stuff like that. And my Uncle Johnny and his wife, Martha, they're actually missionaries. And one of my cousins is actually as well. And they've been helping my mom and dad. They looked at a couple of my letters and they were amazed at how mature I've gotten with like the Bible and everything, the scripture. And it just like one gift that I did get was a good memory as far as like being able to memorize stuff, right? And like that's what happened with cars and with oil field. I can memorize acronyms like that. And I've been memorizing a lot of different scripture. I can just kind of like help people that way. It was like there's been inmates that have left my unit and went to a different place and have written me just to ask like, can you give me a couple of scriptures to help me through this? Like, do you know of any? I can help somebody that way.
Yeah, that's good.
Do you got to go to school or anything?
They don't have any else programs here.
They don't.
It's a accepted or evaluation prison, so they don't. I think this is when they have a sex class in here.
Hmm.
That's the only thing they really have.
You gonna go to that?
No. No, I always ask, like, why do people go in there? And they're like, you don't want to go in that class.
You stay away from that class.
I'm like, okay. Yeah, that's the only thing they have here, but they have other, like, that's like the map of the prisons they have here.
Yes, looking at that earlier.
Oh, wow.
They have a lot here.
Like 3 right in this area.
Yep, they're around here. I was just amazed that one thing I did see out the window when I first, there was like a neighborhood that was right next to the prison. Yeah, so it's like, is that the same thing? Yeah, weird. Because like in Colorado, it seems like they're all like out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, they're out in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay. Easy.
Well, we might take a little break right now. Well,
I think it's almost time for you to eat lunch.
yeah.
Like 20 minutes.
Yeah, felt like the polygraph. Everything just like look up the time. I'm like, oh wow.
It's been 4 hours. Holy cow.
They might let us come back and help you.
Okay.
There might be a couple more things we want to go over.
Okay.
That's something you're up for.
Awesome.
Okay. And then the other thing is, we might be back in a month and a year and 2 years if you're up for it. Now that's way down the road, but I guess maybe in the back of your mind, just think about that. I hope so far they've been all right for you.
Yeah, it's been honestly when I walked in, I was like, wait, I know
Where do I know these guys?
I look at you, I'm like that's not the site counselor. That's oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
They're Colorado people.
So then let's pass that A&E sergeant. I was like, all right, who am I meeting? Not the A&E sergeant.
So there's a possibility we might not make it back today. I just want to let you know, but we might. So we really appreciate you talking to us.
Thank you for coming. Total took me off guard. I had no idea. So
Yeah. And again, this isn't the case is over close, so that's not what today's about. We really appreciate it. You did a lot of things really well, really good. We had a lot of good decisions. Obviously, we're here because of just one bad decision, but I think that you've taken steps to get past that. So yeah, we might come back after lunch if that's all right. That's fine. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go see if I can grab some.
Spoiler alert, they do come back after lunch, but we're going to have to watch and listen to that another day because we're at 1 hour and 38 minutes. So I am going to wrap things up. Let me just make sure I got everything in. Hold on 1 second. Oh yes, I'm working on an update regarding the house, and I should have that out this weekend sometime. I'm gonna make that into a live. I also am trying to do a set live for members and subscribers. So we're going to be doing the members live on Mondays at 7 p.m. But I also put up a little voting thing for members and subscribers to vote on when we're going to come together on a weekly live. I'm already doing that, but this way you will know what day and time it's going to happen. I will still be doing the lives and the other stuff that I do here and there throughout the week, but at least you'll have set times when you know you can expect me to be live, and you can plan around that instead of just trying to catch it when I do it here and there. So if you could just go over there and vote for me. I'm looking at Fridays for the Everybody's Live. But if that day doesn't work, there's an option where you can vote where it just doesn't work for me on Fridays, Amy. And we can look at something else. I'm happy to do that. I like doing my lives with you guys. I enjoy spending time with you in this way. And I promise I'll have more videos that I'm working on as well. So I'm going to head out. If nobody's told you this today, I'm going to tell you this because I love you so much. I'm so grateful for you. And I love you. And I'll see you next time, you guys. I'm going to show you the update on baby Banny. For those that didn't see the update in the beginning, we paid $25.75 to baby Banny. She's the one that got hit by the train with her mother. Her mother didn't make it. Banny did. She can't walk or stand on her own, and Wildlife SOS is helping her out, and we bought her a bottle with your guys' support. I'm grateful for you guys, and I love you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Okay, nothing in your pockets? Okay, go and face that other wall behind you. I'm just going to search your legs.
About me one more time before you go.
Okay, turn around, face me.
Someday you'll know. Someday you'll know what I'm going to say. I've been feeling this way for far too long. And now you're gone. Took me away from all of my fears. Kept me away from all of my tears.
Frederick PD 1 cooperative male.